We wait for about maybe 15 seconds because the average person that's getting a notification right now saying Revolution Radio Canada is live is currently watching probably a Dove commercial. So we're just going to count from 15, 14,
I love the
13,
delay.
12, 11. That's my computer. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Ignition.
Craig
There we
G,
go.
Derek, Lewis, Dimitri, Alexiou, and Lights. Lights is here. Lights is here.
He's on the internet.
My God. We're losing our minds right now. Anyway, okay. I'm going to stop talking. Let's get our man Dimitri to do the land acknowledgement, and then let's get into it.
Okay. Canadian as fuck acknowledges that the land on which we're meeting is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Canadian as fuck also acknowledges that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit.
Thank you, Dimitri. Much appreciated. This show is called Canadian as Fuck. This is episode number 28. It doesn't get much more Canadian than this, my friends. Lights is joining us tonight, and thank you so much for your time, my friend. We really
My pleasure. I'm stoked to be here.
So seriously appreciate you being here. And Derek, what you
Yes, sir.
say? What do you have to say?
I have to say, my friend Light showed up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Yeah. We all do.
I'm so happy. I'm happy we can do this. I love the pod name. I think that's all I want to talk about is Canadian music.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
All you want to talk about is Canadian.
Well, that's what we do.
Yep.
We dive deep as well, right? We didn't get a chance to talk to this last time I saw you, but we did touch on it a little bit. But what we do is we do deep dives. We go digging through everything. We want to know everything about Canadian music. We want to know
Nardwuar deep. Are we talking Nardwuar deep?
Like Nardwuar deep. You are absolutely right.
We might go beyond Nardwuar level. You know?
Wow.
I don't know. That dude knows some stuff.
Nardwuar knows his shit. He knows his stuff. He really does.
Yeah.
He's good.
Like, doesn't your mom work at that like pie shop on the corner of Highway 60 and blah, blah, blah? And you're
you'll be like that morning you woke up and you looked in the mirror and you said to yourself, it's time for me to make a pancake.
Right?
And the artist is like,
I don't think we go
how the hell do you know that?
He's got like secret cameras in people's houses.
That's amazing. Yeah, him and Alan Cross. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So Lights produced her. So Lights' debut album was in 2008. Her first self-titled EP, which did so absolutely well. It led way to putting out The Listening, which is when I met you. I remember correctly.
I think it was before 2009 that I met you.
Was it?
Yeah, because I actually met you, I think, before I even
put
anything out officially. Because I was just so for those who don't know, Derek has been my longtime tattooer and tattoo mentor as I get into tattooing and longtime friend.
Get into that.
And I think the first time I went to you was when I was 19 or 20. So that was like right around the time of my EP. It was before my EP came out for sure. Cause I was all tattooed. My back was tattooed before then.
Wow. My introduction to Lights was February Air. That's the first song I heard.
That's 06.
Yeah.
So we're talking way back. That's 06
Yeah.
that that came out.
Yeah.
I think it was 07 that I started getting tattooed by you, Derek.
The first song I heard by you was Drive My Soul.
08. No,
Okay.
that was before that. Oh, wait.
I was first, Dimitri. Sorry, Derek.
You're behind.
I win. Ding, ding. Circle wins a square. Sorry, Derek.
I love this.
But you just put out Pep. At the beginning of 2022, you put out Pep, which is a
brilliant record.
Freaking amazing album. Like, holy shit. From like top to bottom. There are, and I've said this many, many times. Not many times. There are not many recent albums that I will listen to front to back.
Oh.
Now I'm a little biased by a smidge, but this is an absolute banger. So we're going to chat a little bit more after we come back, after we play this first track. This track is Beside Myself. It is by Lights, who has graced us with her lovely presence. And we are playing this on Revolution Radio, Canadian as fuck. Tune in.
Ghosts of us in the next life, knowing what we know on our last night, try to remind us, they remind us to hold on tight. Call me in the morning when you wake up. The world is in motion, and when you reach me, were you with me on the other side? Don't leave me hanging, waiting for something, believing in nothing with nobody else. Body is aching, dreaming and waking. Don't leave me waiting, don't leave me here beside myself, beside myself. Hold me like it's the last time, like you remember how it felt the first time. I know we're dying. Tell me it's okay not to be alright. Don't leave me hanging, waiting for something, believing in nothing with somebody else. Body is aching, dreaming and waking. Don't leave me waiting, don't leave me here beside myself, beside myself. We hold on to the good times, and right now in the long nights, in your hometown and the bright lights as they guide us to the next life. We hold on to the good times, and right now in the long nights, in your hometown and the bright lights as they guide us to the next life. Dreaming and waking. Don't leave me waiting, don't leave me here beside myself, beside myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, right here on Canadian as fuck on Revolution Radio, that was Lights and Beside Myself.
So good.
A little reminiscent. We were having so Lights and I were having a little chat off the side there.
Off the record.
It's a little reminiscent of Portal there in the beginning, which I really.
This is a deep cut. This is a deep cut you're bringing up.
Mhm.
Bit of
I
a
know.
deep cut.
But
I like to start my records with like unassuming songs. Everybody wants to start it off with a banger. Portal was like it was the opener on Little Machines 2 records ago, and it was like my attempt at doing a song with one chord. I'm like, is it possible? Can you make a song with one chord? Portal is one chord.
And it's beautiful.
But, and the beat in that actually was on my baby belly because I was pregnant at the time.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I stole your fun fact. Did I steal your fun fact? I'm gonna let you come up with these.
No, it's fine. You can throw in whatever you want. So, little fun fact about the 2 tracks that we're playing tonight from Lights, Beside Myself and Jaws. Both of these tracks were entirely produced by women.
Yeah.
100%. Right?
All work done by women. Proud of that.
All work done by women. Your new drummer is Jess Bowens. Sorry, screwed that up. I said Jeff. Sorry. Jess Bowens. And like watching her play live it's always fun watching somebody with hair play live.
Yeah, she shreds her hair around.
She goes nuts. It's amazing.
Hard to get a photo of her live because she's just covered in hair. I love her.
Yeah, that's and awesome. you're still working with Brody.
Yeah.
And who else is on that team?
So my band is really just a 3-piece at this point, and my goal and so it's cool you bring up the all women thing because that was a huge goal for me on PEP.
Yeah,
I know it's really important for me to make sure we even the playing field with women behind the scenes in music because, I don't know if anyone knows the facts, but 95% of producers are male. The percentages are crazy. I think something like 40%, 30% are female songwriters. So the numbers, they vary, but across the board, there's less women in the music industry than there are men. With performers, with front of house mixers, with tour and crew, with lighting people. So I'm like, well, I get into this conversation a lot with people. It's like, well, you can't just hire someone because they're a girl. You have to hire someone because of the merit of their skill set. And I'm like, well, where are they getting their skill set? Where are they getting their credentials? Yeah. You have to go out of your way to hire people that are women if you want to even the playing field. And eventually we can make that choice. But until the talent pool is bigger, we have to go out of our way to bring women in. So Beside Myself, we're going to talk about that one. Mm-hmm. I mean, so that was actually how I met Jess Bowen. I said, I want more women on the road with me. I want more women involved with this project. My goal is that it's 50%. That's all I'm asking for. I want 50% women on my crew, and I want 50% women to work on this record. And it's amazing how hard that is. It's a challenging task, let me tell you. So Beside Myself, I put an effort into ask around, word of mouth. I actually have a document that is always in the works with Tegan and Sarah. So we go back and forth on names and front of house people, mixers, producers, masters, who's working now, and they actually their last record was all work done by women, which I thought was
that's
really cool.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
Very cool. So I brought in Lisa Pangsang, who's an engineer out of Vancouver, and we worked on this track together. I had Emily Lazar master the whole album. Actually, she mastered all of PEP. And that was when I said, well, I would love to bring in a female drummer to drum on Beside Myself. And that was how I met Jess Bowen. So she's been obviously in the touring world for a long time. We've sort of just missed each other crossing paths, but she did the drum track remotely on that. And in the end, I said, fuck it, do you want to come on tour with me? And she plays for a bunch of other people and she has her own band, Somerset. But she was like, fuck yeah, I'm coming. So that was how I brought Jess into the tour. And the Baby I'm Back tour, which was the first major tour I've done since pandemic, was actually, we had the even number of women and men on the road. And it was the first time I've experienced that in my life. And I'm proud to say half of PEP was work done by women as well, in various forms. I did a lot of the producing on the record as well. So I'm proud to say that I achieved it. It's challenging, but I think more people need to step up and do that.
Yeah, if you don't open it, like it's the same old thing, right? Like even young people going out in the world today, and they're like, well, I need a job. And the job says, well, you need experience.
Yeah. What comes first, right? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? How do people get experience?
Exactly. How do you get experience? How do we get more women in the music industry? Well, we put them there.
You bring them in. You give them their experience. My tour manager now, actually, she was my merch person in 2017. And I looked at her, and you have to be able to look at people's potential and say, I know what they can come up and do. And I was like, do you want to try TMing? Tour managing my next tour. So I brought her up.
That's a great opportunity that you're giving people. Yeah.
And people learn as they go, and you have to be willing to be forgiving.
Yeah.
But that's, we're all just here. Hi, Rocket's in the room. Rocket has entered the building. When if he can say hi. She's hiding. I think it's we're all human. We're all just trying to find our way and figure out what we're good at and get to our end goal of doing what we love for a living.
Mm-hmm. If I may, Derek, just really quickly, I adore the fact that you're talking about bringing more women into the fold, empowering women, and making, opening the doors for people. To hear, I know that it was the two of them, Emily Haynes and, gosh, I'm drawing a blank, that produced Late Show, The Beaches.
Jimmy Shaw.
Yes,
Jimmy,
thank you.
Yeah.
Emily and Jimmy.
Yes.
But like to see that kind of thing, like to see Emily kind of reaching out and saying, you know what, I dig you guys as a band. I want to produce your next record, kind of thing. Could you see yourself doing that in the future, producing records for other female artists, or just or producing in general?
Producing in general too. I mean, I do make a point of always trying to stay on top of up and coming female producers or more established female producers. But I don't want to put anyone on the spot here, but you probably can't name 5 female producers. You know what I mean? And I think it's kind of like one of those things you can't even look them up. Looking up female producers is very convoluted search results. So even if you wanted to bring in a female producer into your album, it's really hard to find unless it's word of mouth. So I'm always kind of staying on it, like looking at how other female producers are doing it. Like there's CJ Marks out of the UK who actually does a lot of like Manchester Orchestra and a lot of Wicked, some of your favorite rock bands she produces. And St. Vincent has actually produced a lot of records. There's a ton of great producers that we like bring up to the front, right? So I would love to be one of those people, but this is a conversation I've actually just had. I've been producing my own stuff, not all of it, I'm bringing people for other things. I didn't produce all of PEP, I did half of PEP. Co-produced a lot of it as well. But if, I have to scream nonstop from the mountaintop that I produce and still it doesn't stick. I think the difference is the assumption with women is that they don't do it. And we're not given the benefit of the doubt that we do. You have to prove it repeatedly that that's what you do. So I'm always working on opportunities to show that so that young women like my little one who just came into this room, who's 8, can be like, that's a job for me. That's something I can do when I get older. It's not even a question.
It's unfortunate. I've worked, I'm not going to say where or anything, but I've worked in broadcasting in the past, and I've heard, even just music directors and program directors and stuff not give the same respect to, like, a Joanne Wilder from Q107, who is fucking amazing, Or, there's just so, I could go on for years and years and years, but it's too bad that is it seems to be the case in entertainment in general.
It is changing.
I hope so.
It is overall. It is changing. Yeah. It's changing, and I think the next generation is going to be a whole lot different.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah. Get rid of us.
I've noticed so much of difference, even that, like, no, that's not it at all. And I think there's no like attacking of like other people that are pre-existing. I think it's making room for more, and the more people we bring in, the better. I remember the first time I saw a female producer I was in high school and watched this Much Music special on Linda Perry producing Beautiful by Christina Aguilera. And I'd never seen a woman behind the console telling the artist what to do. And I thought, this goes against everything I know about the stereotype of producers or the stereotype of the way music is made. And she had Christina doing some whack shit. She's like, lay on your back and cry and like sing. I was just like blown away at the like intimacy.
She turned all the lights off on her, didn't she?
Turned off all the lights. She had her in this really vulnerable position. I was like, oh, she's trying all these crazy, you could do anything. This is nuts. And it was very exciting for me as a kid because I had bought my first 8-track when I was 13 years old. I spent my inheritance, which was $1,000, on a little 8-track recording system to zip drive. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
To zip.
Wow.
Gone with the Wind. It lasted like 2 years, but I had a zip disc, 8-track to zip disc. And I'm like, I had just gotten that and I was seeing this and I go, this is what I want to do in the world. I want to create moments and bring up these emotions that we can share with everyone in unique ways. There's no right or wrong answer to how I'm going to make music. I'm just going to fucking do it. I'm having the best time.
That's an amazing story that you can like reach back and see like that was what inspired me. You know,
That's
that
what
like
it took
that changed your way of looking at the world and what's possible.
Absolutely. You got to see it to believe it. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, but you know, my kid is a hockey player and she's super inspired by other female players, and she's less interested in seeing guys play because she can't really relate. It's just less interesting for her, but she sees Natalie Spooner out there. You know, actually Natalie Spooner responded to one of my husband had posted a story of rock playing, and Natalie Spooner we actually all follow her. We're all big fans of Natalie Spooner, and she responded to one of the videos of Rocket playing hockey with flame emojis, and just the look on Rocket's face was
that's
awesome. You know, to get acknowledged by your female idols, like it's awesome. I love
what
to
a
see
feeling
it.
What a feeling that must have been. That's awesome.
No, more women's leagues need broadcast deals. Just saying.
Absolutely.
100%. That's a big part of it, right? Like women won't get paid unless there's viewership and
sponsorship and exactly, all those things.
But you need a broadcast deal for that to happen.
Derek, sorry, I just have one more question if I could, please.
No, you go right ahead. Do your thing.
Awesome. Lights, I'm just wondering if you could tell me, because I love finding out from artists, singer-songwriters, you know, people that do their
producers.
And producers, that's right, and producers.
List all the things I do.
That do their own thing. You may have been asked this question 500 times.
I was going to ask about that later on.
So
please do.
I am wondering, what's the first record you bought with your own money?
Okay, this is not embarrassing. It is not a guilty pleasure. I'm very proud of this. The first 5 albums I bought on Columbia House. I don't know if anyone remembers buying albums by stamps.
Never did it. Heard horror stories.
I did.
All my albums came in.
Yeah.
I did. And the first 5 I bought were Celine Dion records.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Huge Celine fan.
No,
I love her.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, absolutely.
I actually first learned to sing by a diva, right? Like I learned to sing that way. Barbara Streisand, Whitney Houston, Amanda Marshall, even I was hugely influenced by early on when I was very young. And then, I mean, she was just this icon to me.
We're playing Amanda Marshall in the show later on, just so you know, actually.
What?
That's one of the songs. Yeah, I picked Amanda Marshall tonight. Yes. Yeah, so anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You knew.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, making a conscious decision once I started actually recording as Lights to not sing that way. Because, you know, this goes back to our conversation. I said, if I sing like this, people will only think I'm a singer. So I need to pretend I don't know how to sing, so that people will notice everything else more, because I don't want people to think that all I do is sing, because that's what people would assume. And they still did. That's
fantastic, though. But that actually brings me to one of the things I was going to ask you in regards to your vocal style. Is something like Beside Myself is completely different from Jaws. Like Jaws, I would almost look at like, you know, going back to February Air, like that classic Lights voice, right? But Beside Myself is just entirely... It's kind of almost, I hate to say it with the whole dude thing, but it's almost kind of Paul McCartney-ish, being like Paul McCartney.
I mean, I'll take that. I love
you know what I mean?
McCartney.
Me too.
I love Paul McCartney. Did you watch
and then him copying his Fats Domino voice, right? Like that kind of thing, right? So I find it really interesting, and I love it when artists and vocalists do that with their voice. You can just take it from one place to another.
I love that you can hear that in that, because that's sort of a conscious thing when I'm doing sort of like a nostalgic style of production, because Beside Myself is more of a traditional style production, harkening back to like one of my favorite records, Joshua Tree. I love you too. And
me too. Yeah.
I'm so like, you know, I can sing with this more like vibrato. Me and Derek have talked about this deeply, but the sort of like deep vibrato of like this gorgeous rock like I like to like tap into that now in the music, get there a little bit with me, and then you can tone it back and pull back to this lo-fi electro pop vocal, and having fun with that is just the same as changing your guitar tone or using a pad or using a bass. Your vocal is an instrument. You can play with it as deeply as you want. You can do an 80s sound if you want, and having fun with that now. Yeah. Now that I have confidence in my ability to show whatever I want to do musically. It was different when I started though.
So I have so you Derek briefly brought up the comic book before, and I feel like now you're entering my wheelhouse. Okay,
Are you a comic nerd?
Oh my god, yeah, I have I think I have every single issue of Daredevil in some way, shape, or form. But it's like,
wow,
yeah, but
you're a comic nerd when you have Daredevil.
Oh God. So anyway, so getting back to life.
No judgments,
Okay.
Derek. No judgments,
No,
Derek.
no, I'm not
Alright.
judging. I'm not judging. I have Daredevil.
So you release Skin and Earth as both an album and a comic book series. Is that something that you did because Skin and Earth was a concept album? Like you had a unifying story throughout, or did you, or is it like why did you do it that way? And just
because I'm a comic fan, and
Yeah.
you know this. And here's uniquely to the comic fan base, I would say that every comic fan also wants to be a creator. I think it's innate. Like, have you ever wished you would write or draw a comic? I'm sure you
I
have
can't
ideas.
You can draw. I can't.
Me
But I'm
neither.
sure you would. I'm sure you would
I
love.
wish
to,
I
right?
could. I can't.
And-
Yeah.
I could probably. I feel like all right. You
I
want
could
to
draw a
talk
mean
comics?
stick figure.
I think one thing I've come to really appreciate about comics is like how you can move the audience's eye around the page and
you control them.
yeah, and that's all through layout. Like I've seen some of my favorite issues of comics. It's like do crazy things with layout and like make and like
Yep.
upend the audience's like comfort, like
You can
terrify you.
totally do that.
Yeah.
Well, you can, I remember when I was wanting to do that, like I would read comics, and I think the best advice I have for anyone who ever wants to make a comic is to just read comics. Because like you said, you can notice in comics where you're being controlled. And that's the beauty of reading a comic. You can be thrilled to turn the page and see a big splash spread of some crazy thing that blows your mind. And then, you're slowed down by a full page of text. If you have 12 speech bubbles with 3 lines each, that's going to slow down your reading process. And then the next page only has 2 speech bubbles. Suddenly you're picking up your pace. So, there's a whole tactic to the way that it is. And actually, I only know this because going back to making Skin and Earth, I was like, I love comics. I'm such a fan. I would love to make this. I'm not a comic creator. I can't do this. I'm a musician. Stay in my lane. This goes back to Dawes. And then we all get to the point eventually where we're like, fuck lanes. I'm going to do what I want. I need to trick myself into like completing a project because I have about 10 unfinished sci-fi novels that I'll never fucking finish. So I needed an excuse to make myself finish a comic. So I submitted the idea of a concept album, and no one said no. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll just do it then, I guess. And so I just kind of started coming up with the ideas, and the further along I got in the process, no one was getting in my way being like, you shouldn't. So I just kind of kept going with it. And then at a certain point I was like, oh my God, I have to draw this. But it was a ton of work. But so I wrote the storyline, the rough storyline, and then wrote the music to the storyline, and then I fleshed out the dialogue, and then I did the art and was creating the characters as I went. So it was this very like strategic. God. I was up all night. I had the craziest insomnia ever because my mind was always active. I would wake up in the night and be like, oh my God, that's how that happens. Like it was just so fun. And it was the coolest escape to write and create and work on. And in the process, sort of like leading up to writing it, I remember being like doubting myself many times through the process. And I'd come up with the storyline and some of the songs. And then I got to a point where I was like, I have no idea how to write a comic. I'm going to ask Brian K. Vaughan to write a comic for me. Let's see. Because I knew he was like a pseudo fan of mine. And I don't know if you're familiar with
Brian K. Vaughan is like the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's a god. He's the best. So he's like one of my comic writer idols. And he's written Why the Last Man and Saga and just done some incredible books.
Yeah.
And so I we were chatting a little bit online at the time. I sent him my acoustic album before it came out. And I was like, yo, you want to like write this for me? I just, you shoot for the stars. And he just basically was like, look, I'm working on 7 projects. My wife's going to kill me. I can't take on anything else, but I can give you some advice. And he was so gracious to sort of give me some of his tips. And one of them was, I don't put more than 12 speech bubbles. I don't put more than 2 or 3 lines of dialogue. You know, when you want to move, you know, he just gave me this like invaluable advice that I have a freaking shelf full of comic writing books, and I didn't get any of that from that.
Yeah.
And it depends on the style you're trying to write. Like, of course, if you're writing for Marvel or DC, I think, you know, digging into canon and writing for like 10 editors is different. But, you know, Brian writes indie comics and nobody's looking over his shoulder. So he very much does what he wants. And he gave me such great, beautiful advice. He says, you can do this. You're an artist. You know, you got this. And that was all I needed.
That goes back exactly to what you said before about giving people the opportunity.
Give the space.
You can go to university for it, but who knows if you're going to get a fucking degree, right? Like, I mean, you can spend 6 years, just get into it, right? Just like you said before.
That's right. And if no one else will give you the opportunity, give yourself the opportunity and just do it. And that's what I did. And it was a ton of work.
So the comic was first, and then the music was second.
Well, the storyline was first.
Story.
So the rough arc was first, and then I filled in the blanks with the songwriting, and the songwriting would bring up new ideas. And then when the songwriting was done, and sort of in the process of writing all the music, I fleshed out the dialogue. And then you always do all the writing before the art, obviously. So it was sort of like it all kind of happened together, but the main storyline obviously happened first, and then the songwriting came after. So the songs were very much written about the story.
Wow, beautiful.
That's such a huge project. That's amazing.
Huge.
It's huge, but it's also incredible. It's incredible too, because that's also very classic songwriting, and we've actually discussed this before on Canadian as Fuck with a number of different songwriters, that you are one of those classic songwriters that writes in your head. I mean, that's what you do. I mean, for me, when I sit down and try and write music, I'm writing it. You know, I can't write from my head. I just can't do it. But you can. And that's brilliant. So not only holy shit. Yeah. So not only can you write an album, but you can also write a comic in your head. That's pretty.
She can probably do other things too.
That's amazing.
So,
you know.
Lights for Prime Minister. Yeah.
That is a job I do not want.
That's a shit job. You don't want that job. No.
It is awful.
No, thank you. All my work would be politicized.
Yeah.
Monster.
That's right.
Did not.
Yeah, exactly.
She'll write an album and then an accompanying monster truck ballet or something like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's... But, you know, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you just do it, right? Like, I think, like I said, I have 10 unfinished sci-fi novels, and I may never finish them, but if for some reason I did, I sometimes wonder what I do. Like, my comics brought me to 4 different cons. I went to New York Comic Con. I went to Fan Expo. It took me to the Toronto Comic Con and Vancouver and Toronto Comic Con and the major San Diego Comic Con 2 years in a row, where I was doing panels and people came dressed up in cosplay as the characters. Like, it's surreal. I was living my dream, and that's just because I decided to do it. And you know, if there's something you love, the only person that tells you can't do it is you. The world isn't telling you can't do it.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just you. Yeah.
The only person in your way is yourself. Yep.
That's right.
It's true.
100%.
Yeah.
We got to move along, kids,
and bring the conversation back to music.
Yeah.
Back to music.
Yeah.
Same shit.
Derek, just so you know, Derek, sorry, buddy. Literally, Dimitri and I have stamped all over you. Like, literally, I don't think you've asked a question in like 20 minutes. So anyway, I apologize.
I don't get to talk. I don't get to talk to people who actually created comics very often.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's
It's
true.
so
I'm going to
fun.
walk on that.
That's true.
We chat all the time.
Yeah, me and Derek talk all the time. I don't need to talk to Derek.
Speaking
anymore.
of chatting all the time, you have a bunch of unfinished sci-fi. I'm going to send you my unfinished sci-fi, and you can choose whichever one of yours you want to throw me.
Let's merge our stories, then maybe we
Oh,
can finish.
100%. Let's make it into a...
I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
I think it is a great idea.
A
I have some great ideas.
collab sci-fi. There you go.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh, my dog Disco is whining at me. Disco, what is
Disco.
Or disco.
Oh,
I have to wait for him to come back.
My
oh!
sweet Disco.
By the way, DJ, our good friend DJ Forces. We were talking about great female producers. He wants to give a shout out to the amazing Sylvia Massey.
Yes. She's
my
one of the legends.
God. Oh,
One of
yeah,
the legends.
of course.
Yeah.
Oh, and actually, if I can say really
I
quickly,
mean, her and Linda Perry.
That, well, yeah, obviously inspired you.
You may.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
one of my all-time favorite guitar solos was by the great Jennifer Turner on Natalie Merchant's Tiger Lily album for Carnival. Still to
I
this
did
day.
not even know this.
Yeah. Jennifer Turner, just an incredible. She was literally
Okay.
plucked by Natalie Merchant out of high school at 18
Wow.
years old, and
Wow.
literally flown down to,
Wow.
to Los Angeles and was like, "Okay, record, let's go," and that was it, and did the album.
And,
That's it, right? Like, I love to see it. I love
Yeah.
to see that.
And of course, on Friday we did an entire episode about Kate Bush, and she's produced how many of her own albums,
yeah.
you know? So
Kate Bush is okay.
Yep.
She's all right.
And you know what?
2 seconds. I'm
She's
running.
okay.
If you didn't know, you wouldn't like, you know, I put, like, I'm a big Kate Bush fan. I put her in the same sort of category as like Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins, who we just assume produce their own stuff. And nobody assumes Kate Bush produces her own music.
Yeah.
She's just a singer.
And not even writes, exactly. Exactly. Not even
right,
writes her
doesn't
own
even write.
music.
She's just a singer, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we assume that
Yeah.
she does all those things, right? And that's just sort of the way. That's the main difference, I think, coming up as a woman in music, where you're like, I constantly proving, in where maybe if I was a dude, I wouldn't have to. So, you know, I look at Kate Bush, and she's just such an icon, or Bjork. I mean, she's even spoken on this. I'm a big Bjork fan, and she's produced her stuff from day one. And there was another producer involved in her work who she says he's been taking the credit. He's been getting the credit for her work, whether he's taking it or not, for decades, right? Like, it just happens. She's an icon.
Yeah.
But it's changing, like we said, and it's exciting to see, and more women are coming up, doing their own thing, and just taking it into their own hands, and it's the best.
Definitely. Oh, so we saw you, unfortunately. Sorry, Derek. Sorry, Dimitri. Dimitri did not, but we saw you at the Beaches show. And to see you pop
we're at the
out.
Beaches show?
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
yeah.
It was so, Dimitri actually got us the tickets, and he couldn't go, unfortunately. So I just wanted to say it was great to see you there. It was really awesome.
That was best 25 seconds of my life.
But that was
that's so cool.
That was but you played the History a few months before that, right? You played
we wrapped we wrapped the last tour on May 7th. Yeah, History. So the next day I did my first guest spot at a tattoo shop at Derek's shop. My very first. The next day. It was an iconic couple of days for me.
That's
It was,
awesome.
Yeah, because I live like a 5-minute walk away from History, and
yeah,
and so I saw.
So do the Beaches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
when they're not in some far-flung place. But anyway, so I saw your fans lined up around the block early that day, and like they're all in cosplay. They're all like, you inspire something in your fandom that other musicians don't. You know,
well, I think, you know, we're all like, if we're a fan of comics or a fan of even music or the arts, I think that we like this because it allows us to escape our day-to-day life. And if you can give people an opportunity to like even immerse a little more than that and dress up for the part, or buy a comic that brings their mind out of real life for a little bit longer, then they'll take it, because that is the point of art. We're like your cheap ticket to a little quick vacay for a night. And I think it's easy to, like, especially if you have a fan base that is inclined to be a little nerdier, as my fan base is.
Yeah.
If you give them some direction, they want to dive in. I mean, like one of my big things on this last year was like doing primary colors. There's a whole sort of reason behind all that. But it really reminded me, like, you know, let's get everyone to get in these colors so that they can feel immersed in the show. Because I remember when Arcade Fire did that. I don't know if you remember. A number of years ago, they made everyone come in costume, like come dressed up, have fun. Because it gets you out of your comfort zone to be wearing something that is not like what you'd wear to the grocery store or to work. And I remember a couple of people were pissed. Why do I have to dress up? Why do I have to dress up?
Oh, I know. I had friends that reacted to that, like to that Arcade Fire requirement. Like they wanted to enforce a dress code. And I think the band's trying something.
Yeah, they're trying to make you feel like this isn't a regular. This is like gonna take you out of real life for a minute. Just enjoy it. Get a little crazy. Like have some fun.
Yeah.
We all love costume parties, so I thought that was kind of a funny thing to get everyone involved in and see how people would react. And pretty much everyone came with the primary color on. It was fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was really adorable. And actually, do you know the band Mokat Doma? They're like a Eastern European like dark wave band. At one point, they're really great. And at one point they were playing a venue on the tour. They were playing a venue like a couple blocks away, and our lines were like kind of waiting near each other. And mine was like primary colors, like slutty Sesame Street vibes, and theirs was like just like, and theirs was just like goth teens,
Yeah,
just
dark
like
wave
it's
goth
just
teens,
all
yeah.
black dark wave, and then like
Black
playing Sesame
eyeliner,
Street.
yeah.
I was like, this is so funny.
That is too cool. I love that. That's awesome.
I
Oh,
have
it was
never heard
awesome.
anyone say slutty Sesame Street.
That's the
in
whole
the
vibe of Pet.
Frickin'
Mhm.
That's the name of my wife and I have a little band. That's going to be the name of our next record. That's the name of our Slutty Sesame Street.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's a little got a little something for everyone.
Yep.
So DJ Forces was also at the Beaches show, and he said that you were amazing. You were amazing at that show.
Oh, that was an awesome night.
Yeah, it was great.
I love those girls. They slap.
They just ever since I heard Late Show, just fell in love instantly. So
God
So
damn.
great. So great. And actually, I've never get to be on the stage with that many women. I mean, I performed with them in Vancouver as well, and it was like, there's 5 girls on stage. Like, what? I've never had that before.
yeah, definitely for sure.
Great.
That's sad, isn't it? Though
It is sad.
it is sad if you think like
I've never
really
been on
think
stage
about
with only
it.
women. Yeah, never experienced that in my life. It was very cool. I
That's
loved it.
so.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was a great night.
It was
Oh,
a great
definitely.
night.
That was a great
I
night.
brought
Yeah.
Derek. I brought Derek and Christine.
Yeah, I
No, no,
heard.
I brought you. We chauffeured.
True. They did drive me. That is true.
I
Yeah.
don't like taking credit for it.
No, I fell in love with the
thank you for
beaches.
That show was really, really wonderful. I enjoyed being there. I'd
Yeah.
never actually seen them play before, so that was a treat
Me
as
neither.
well. And
Oh my God.
and a hometown show as well, and the
Yeah.
final hometown show.
Yeah.
That was
It was,
I saw-
iconic.
I saw them February 28th at the Danforth Music Hall 2020.
Oh.
Right before.
Right before.
Yeah. That was
And
what an
my
end.
God. Oh my God. But what really lifted my spirits about that show is that there were so many young people rocking out at that show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if anybody out there is bemoaning the death of rock or something, it's alive.
Oh,
It is
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
alive.
And I gotta say,
agree.
I honestly think it's alive mostly with the women that are doing good old rock
Them.
and roll these
Yeah.
days.
No
Are-
bro,
Yeah.
no
women-
bro, love them, and
Lights.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like alt rock has like a handful of women that gets played on alt rock radio.
Mhm.
And I think, now it's like we're realizing, it's okay to be a fan of women. Just so
Yeah.
you know, like for a long time, it was like I was always people's guilty pleasure. Like people always say, "Oh, my Lights is my guilty pleasure." Like if you like it, why is it guilty for you?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
why? So I'm seeing it sort of like shift in alt rock because rock fans more than probably any other genre are. It's harder for women to get into the rock fan realm.
It's always been a boys' club. Yeah.
It's always been a bit of a boys' club,
Yeah.
and so they're a hard one to change minds. They're very, very loyal rock fans. They're one of the most loyal genres of fans, where they'll only listen to rock and only listen to rock they like.
It has to
Rock
be done a
stations are
certain way.
a certain way, and it has to be the same bands that they knew from 20 years ago, or it's not
Yeah,
legit. And
that's what I
cred is
don't
a
get
big
it,
thing. The cred game, like,
Ugh.
it doesn't really exist in any other genres.
No.
So it's cool to see more women coming up in it. And like, if you think rock is dead, just look at the women, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
that's
the women are if the women are doing it best, then
That's
just
who it is.
yeah, that's who it is. You
Yeah, doesn't matter.
know. Mhm.
Yep.
I agree.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Derek,
Thank you
Yes,
so much
sir.
for being here, Lights.
did you
This is a
did,
great conversation.
did you have
is.
any questions before we let our new bestie go?
No.
Just so
but
you know,
we have
every
chatted
time
with you for a freaking hour.
just
love.
so you know, Lights, just so you're aware, literally from now on, you will be known as Revolution Radio's bestie. So every time I jump on, it's like, oh, that was Lights taken from the album Pep.
Remember when our
new
best friend
bestie.
was
Our new
on-
Yeah,
bestie.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I love that. I'm always looking for new friends. You never have a capacity for friendship. So
That's it.
Nope.
Exactly.
Our cup runneth over.
Well, listen, my friend, we've taken enough of your time, so we gotta play another song. So, Derek, take
Yes,
it away,
sir.
buddy.
So, Revolution Radio, Canadian as fuck. This has been a lovely interview with our friend Lights, producer, comic book artist and editor
And writer.
and producer and writer, songwriter, musician,
Tattoo artist.
tattoo artist, my best buddy,
Bestie.
besties.
Mom.
I appreciate
Yes.
that.
Well, she's a mom too.
She's a mom.
I am. That is true.
One of my favoriteest small humans.
She's an amazing small human.
She is an amazing small human.
And she's a hockey mom too.
She is a
I'll admit,
hockey
I don't. I avoid actually.
to two.
Yeah, I let them handle that. I get too aggro. I get too aggro at the games. I'm like, nah. I'm one of those.
Oh, I want to see this.
Oh,
I want to see this.
No, it's bad.
Jerseyer.
Yeah, this is why I like solo sports. Doesn't
Yeah.
work for me.
Nice.
See you at a Toronto 6 game.
Yeah,
That's right.
you'll see. Destined for the Olympic team, right? That's the only place women hockey players can go right now, apparently. But it'll change.
We'll change that.
Mhm.
It'll change that. We know anybody out there that's listening. Let's fire up the pro league in Canada again.
Yep.
Yes, do that.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, I was just at a Toronto 6 game this spring. And like
How was it?
they play out of York University at a
Okay.
rink, and it's like all the seats are on one side of the rink,
Oh,
and it's like really small, but I bought a sweater.
yeah. You brought
So,
the merch.
Yeah, I bought
Yeah,
the
I
merch.
mean those girls play hard, man.
Mhm.
They play hard.
So, oh God, everybody who has a little girl has to take their kid
Yeah.
to a Toronto 6 game.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. 100%.
stuff.
100%.
Okay, we're gonna play because it's been an hour.
We could literally talk to Lights for another hour.
I know.
So
I know.
She's
Believe
delightful.
me.
yeah, yeah.
She's delightful.
Believe me.
That's how her stage name came out. She's delightful.
She is-
There we go. I've never heard that one actually. I like that.
So I'm gonna do my intro again.
Yes.
Okay, do your intro.
It's gonna be shorter.
It's not so far.
Not so far, is it?
Nope. Nope.
Without further ado, Lights, thank you so much for joining us. We will chat with you on the other end of this song as well.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out and just sit with us. Three
Goofballs.
nerds.
My pleasure. It was awesome. Great conversation. I appreciate you hearing out the rants of the needs of the women.
We're here for it.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
I know you are.
And we're here for it. Without further ado, from producer, songwriter, tattoo artist, musician,
Comic book
comic
creator.
book artist, just general, all around wonderful human being. On Revolution Radio, Canadian as fuck, episode 28. This is Jaws by Lights.
I know what you wanna say. You don't even gotta say it. Just cause it's a game doesn't mean I gotta play it. Yes, I'm the real thing. Yes, I got class. I'll be taking a high road, fucking living life last. I like to look pretty, but don't be rude. I go for broke if I don't like the rule. You know I can apart, but I ain't blowing bubbles. I'll tell you what, I'm not very good at being subtle. I'll be relaxing, stoking the coals. The world is collapsing, you're losing control. I'll be keeping tea hot, digging your pit. They say the future comes once, and maybe this is it. Oh, she got class, fuck it, she got jaws. She got her guns out, boots up, no bras. Don't trust nobody, baby, we're outlaws. Rebel with the cause. Oh, she got jaws. Oh, she got jaws.
Your old pal DJ Craig G has an empty glass here on Canadian as Fuck on Revolution Radio, and that is just not freaking allowed. It's never allowed. That's a faux pas in Canada as far as it goes. I think Lights might have an empty glass too. So
for all that, I hope so.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Once again, Lights, thank you so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it, my friend. You are absolutely fucking wonderful, and just we're so lucky that you're Canadian. That's all I can say.